Along the western shores of Africa, one of the continent's most charismatic mammals thrives in its ocean home. But to raise young, it must emerge on solid ground. For a generation that can't yet swim, it will take toughness and luck to survive the chaos of the colony and the turmoil that surrounds them. It's a testing start to life for Southern Africa's Cape fur seals. In a world so often defined by competition and the struggle for survival, one of nature's great treats is to witness adult animals playing. The swell breaking on South Africa's west coast is a site of total revelry for Cape fur seals. They're here for the morning surf, harnessing the power of the churning waves for pure enjoyment. Seals excel in their dynamic environment. The close rocks are of no concern when you can turn on a dime. With speed and agility in the water, they're well prepared for a life at sea. But unlike most ocean mammals, Cape fur seals all begin life on dry land. And for these females, today's surf is the last underwater hurrah before they return to solid ground to give birth to a new generation. It's early November, late spring in the southern hemisphere. Furry bodies cover a broad beach on South Africa's west coast. At thousands strong, this is one of the largest mainland seal colonies in the world. Unlike many other species, fur seals' rear flippers can turn to face forward, allowing them to shuffle over land. But their grace in the water is compromised on Earth. The bulls have been here for a month already, marking out their turf along the beach. Here and there, young males tussle playfully. In time, they'll have to push others out of their territories to win the right to mate. But for now, they're much too small to compete with the colony's real barons. The youngsters seem almost embarrassed by their show. At around 14 years old and 350 kilograms, this bull is in his prime. He's one of the many behemoths standing guard over the territories they've claimed, and the females they've herded onto their land. For 2 months, the bulls will eat nothing, living off their fat reserves while they defend their patch. They've spent the last 11 months building themselves up for this struggle to reproduce. With so many bulls, space and females are hotly contested. The giant seals lift themselves upright and proud to make their presence felt. But sometimes this isn't enough. Neighbors often meet in border displays. After a show of strength, they cut their losses and make sure their females stick to their land. If a male turns his back on a challenge, he's often pursued. Full-on fights cost a lot of energy and are usually avoided between equals. But not always. For the females, this is all part of the breeding season. Hardly worth batting an eyelid. For the bulls, prime real estate has waterfront access, where they can intercept females moving to and from the sea, and corral them into their harems. But for the females emerging on the shore, mating is not the priority. They're here to give birth. Before long, the beach is littered with newborn pups of around 5 kilograms. For a kelp gull, the placenta represents a valuable meal. And the exhausted seals aren't bothered by the scavenger. But the forced proximity of being on land is a far cry from the jubilant freedom of the surf. New mothers are fiercely possessive of their young, and aggression is commonplace. It takes the intervention of a bull to restore the peace. Once pups are born, mothers have achieved the first of 2 crucial aspects to their time on dry land. Now they can turn their attention to the opposite sex. For most of the year, bulls are seldom seen, and it's believed they forage further out to sea than females. If the females want to have pups again next year, they must fall pregnant during this 2-month window of opportunity while the bulls are around. This cow has been for a cooling dip, taking her pup with her to the sea edge. It's just 6 days since she gave birth, But she's come on heat again and is ready to mate. This is why, for the bulls, having a seafront property is so important. The pup will have to spend a little time alone while its mother sees to her important business. At nearly 5 times the female's size, the bull all but smothers her. If all goes well, she'll return in a year to give birth to their pup. But a seal's gestation period is only 8 months. To get the timing right, fertilized embryos only begin to develop 4 months after mating. In this way, the seals are evolved specially for their yearly forays onto land. These bustling breeding colonies form in the summer at various points along the west coast of southern Africa. It's no coincidence that they're here. In the summer months, strong winds blow up the coast, pushing the surface layer of water westward. This massive displacement draws great upwellings of cold, nutrient-rich water from the depths, fueling one of the most fertile coastlines in the world. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the kelp forests that grow just offshore, a short swim from the seal colony. Here, kelp plants rise from the seabed, striving for light to photosynthesize. Fertilized by the rich water, they can reach a towering 12 meters. At their base, root-like structures called holdfasts anchor the kelp to the rocks. Their thin trunks are hollow and filled with gas to keep them upright as they grow toward the surface. They're home to herbivorous limpets that graze on the slender stems. Their shells are curved to hug the plant's surface and streamlined so they're not pulled from the stem by waves. Remarkably, each limpet defends a stem as its own feeding territory, pushing off competitors should they arrive. And it's not just limpets that live amongst the kelp. These fertile waters are home to a plethora of marine life. The kelp's long fronds release millions of spores into the water. These form an important food source for urchins that scour the rocks. Anemones filter their food straight from the water. Where the kelp hasn't taken hold, soft corals and sponges grow in abundance. A well-camouflaged West Coast rock lobster crawls across them. The rocks offer perfect shelter for its kind. And other distant relatives. A Cape rock crab hides under a protruding ledge. And there are fish down here too. While many stick to the forest's hidden crevices, schools of sea bream swim between the tall stalks. For much of the life on this coast, the kelp plays a crucial role in absorbing the energy of ocean swells, providing calm waters in which to live. Battered by the waves, the kelp is slowly broken down into microscopic fragments. Each kelp frond produces 6 times its own weight in detritus per year, adding significantly to the nutritious load of the coast and feeding filter feeders like mussels. These anchor themselves to the rocks that make up the base for many breeding colonies of seals. Rocky islands offer breeding grounds without the threat of terrestrial predators or competition for space with people. On this tiny island, 200 kilometers north of Cape Town, another seal colony is reaching the height of breeding season. The seals aren't the only ones taking advantage of the safe base surrounded by productive waters. They share the island with a huge breeding colony of Cape gannets. With less space to spread out than on the beach, the seals are tightly packed onto the rocks. And the colony is carpeted with the black coats of newborn pups. As on the beach, the gulls perform clean-up duties. These omnivorous birds will take any chance at a meal and eat anything from mussels and fish to untended gannet chicks. Soon after birth, a female and her pup spend time getting to know each other. Their ability to recognize each other's smells and calls will be crucial to the pup's chances of survival. For now, the pup's first meal is close at hand. After a week of suckling their newborns without eating themselves, mothers head back out to sea to hunt. The pups must stay behind and fend for themselves until their mothers return. The island has a shallow nursery pool where pups can learn to swim without the threat of being swept away. They'll only be able to take on the ocean from around 6 weeks old. For now, the deep water that will become their home is fraught with danger. But for the females, the return to the sea is welcome relief from life on land. They take a moment to enjoy themselves, but must find food as soon as possible and return to their young. Not all that surrounds them is edible. A box jellyfish might make for a tasty morsel. But it's armed with vicious, stinging tentacles, and the seals know to give it a wide berth. The nutrient-rich waters around the seal's island feed blooms of phytoplankton, which in turn attract clouds of tiny crustaceans called krill. It would take hundreds of these shrimp-like animals to feed a seal, and the seals aren't evolved for sifting small prey from the water. To them, this rich source of protein is inaccessible. Instead, they head for the deep ocean, where schools of fish will present better prospects. Here, they encounter ocean giants. These marine mammals can harvest the krill. Humpback whales eat enough krill to grow to more than 14 meters long and 40 tons. They use their sieve-like baleen mouths to filter it from the water in huge quantities. These humpbacks travel up to 8,000 kilometers between tropical breeding grounds off the coast of Angola in the north and feeding grounds far to the south off Antarctica. The whales in this pod are among the last to make the southward trek to the cold, food-filled waters. Where they're headed, a single swarm of krill can span many square kilometers, holding up to 10 million tons of food. The whales will spend the summer gorging on these huge resources. With the distraction moving off, the ever-inquisitive seals will dive as deep as 200 meters to find food of their own. With their mothers gone, pups relish their newfound independence. The island is a world for exploring, despite their clumsiness. With many pups left alone for the first time together, there are plenty of new friends to be made. And plenty of playmates. For now, life is good. But as the day draws on, things get tougher. There's little shade on the island, and summer days can reach 40 degrees Celsius. The seal's thick fur is evolved to keep them warm in the cold water. Flippers are the only place with bare skin exposed, and adults wave theirs to cool down. the pups find some relief in the nursery pool. No patch of shade is left empty. Though these pups don't know it, they're incredibly lucky. In colonies where access to water requires longer walks over hot sand or rocks, as many as 1 in 5 newborns can die of heat stress. The seal's position is thus one of cruel irony. Unable to breed in the water, but risking the death of their young by birthing them on land. For most marine mammals, things work very differently indeed. The seasonal upwelling of rich waters extends around South Africa's southern coast. Here, a small pod of bottlenose dolphins is on the move. For them, as for the whales, mating and birth both happen at sea. But the dolphins, unlike the whales, find all the food they need here and don't need to make huge migrations between feeding and breeding. They can spend their lives in a home range of around 85 square kilometers. Unlike the seals, males stay in contact with females year-round, and breeding can happen in any season. There's no need for the dolphins to ever leave the water. Instead of rotating back flippers for walking, they have strong, flexible tails that allow them to swim at up to 36 kilometers an hour. Scientists believe they may even be able to control their tail's flexibility to use their energy efficiently while swimming at different speeds. For the seals, swimming is more like flying beneath the surface. Their front flippers propel them like a bird's wings, and while the dolphins may be quicker, few can match a seal's maneuverability. For the young adults not yet ready to breed, there's plenty of time for exploring and play. They treat the kelp forest as their playground, weaving through the dense stems. The fish take care in keeping a safe distance. For 2 young bulls in the shallows, having fun is becoming a less serene affair. They're reaching full maturity, but aren't yet big enough to compete for territories in the colony. They while away their time play fighting. This roughhousing will help to build their strength and prepare them for the more serious competition of adulthood. While the young bulls enjoy the water, for the pups tied to land, life is becoming more difficult. Each day that their mothers are away is another day without food or protection. Mothers guard their own young viciously, but adults care little for other pups. With so much congestion, moving over each other is often the easiest route. A female doesn't do too much damage, but being trampled by a bull is another story. This pup didn't get out of the way quickly enough and has been crushed. It has escaped with its life, but may be too wounded to live for long. Another has met a more definite end. Many manage to stay out of harm's way, but face long days without food. This pup's mother has been hunting at sea for a week, and he begins to search the island for her in desperation. He's starving. Unable to find her, he tries his luck with other females. But anything given to a strange pup means less food for one's own offspring. It's every mother for herself and her young. Finally, the pup's salvation appears. As soon as she reaches dry ground, she starts to call for her pup. And he needs no second invitation. The reunion signals the end of the pup's immediate struggle. His mother moves to a high, dry point to suckle him. At last, the wait is over, and he can enjoy a good meal. With hunger satisfied, pups take to the nursery pool to cool down and work on their swimming. These leaping games may be in the name of fun, but in time, they could prove valuable practice for evasive maneuvers. Seals are on the menu of more than one ocean predator. The kelp forests are home to cow sharks, also known as seven gills. Young individuals feed mainly on bony fish, but adults can grow to 3 meters long and feed on a wide range of prey, including small marine mammals. But there's another predator in these waters that even a young seven-gill should fear. Great white sharks are the seal's ultimate foe. Growing up to 7 meters long, these are one of the ocean's fiercest predators. With their great power and speed, they launch surprise attacks on seals from below. For now, the pups are safe in the haven of their nursery. But as the sun sets and clouds begin to gather, the sea begins to stir. A new day brings with it a large ocean swell. Violent waves bombard the seal's fortress of rock. The calm shallows of the nursery pool are transformed into a deep, churning maelstrom. On the colony's edge, adults brace against the force of the waves. For them, falling in isn't a disaster. But for the pups that can't yet swim strongly, it might be. Panic pervades the colony as small bodies are tossed in the froth. Pups scramble for higher open spaces. But some rocks are jealously defended by protective mothers. Survival here will come down to both strength and having some help. As the full force of the storm wanes, the damage becomes clear. Many have drowned in the chaos. For the island's bulls, the storm has been a test of their resilience and determination to hold their territories. The sodden pups that surround them take up most of the remaining space. As the tide drops, the threat of the waves recedes with it. The ocean's retreat brings a welcome chance to sleep. It's been an exhausting ordeal for all, and tempers are frayed. For the pups, the main priorities after the chilly deluge are warmth and food. Warmth is easily achieved in a giant pile-up. But for food, all must, once again, rely on their mothers. For some, it's enough to be back in Mum's comforting presence. With the turmoil past, the colony rests for the remainder of the day. The bravest among the youngsters have already returned to their nursery pool. Here they revel in the once more calm and shallow water, earlier traumas forgotten. As they grow stronger and more confident, they get ever closer to being ready to take to the open sea. After 2 months tied to their rocky base, the colony begins to return to the water in numbers. The 6-week-old pups are ready to graduate from the nursery pool and take to the sea with glee. They explore their new surroundings inquisitively, and the low-growing kelp becomes a chew toy. This pup has become so comfortable in the water that it lies asleep on the surface. Seals, like many animals, can sleep with half their brain at a time, resting their left and right hemispheres separately while the other stays alert. The ample space of the open ocean is a welcome relief from the tense congestion of the colony. Others revel in their newfound agility and speed, as if they've just realized what it truly means to be a seal. The water is an arena for wrestling matches and games of tag. And the pup's enthusiasm is contagious. For the mothers, this is a major milestone, and they play alongside in celebration. But their job is not yet done. Their pups still rely entirely on their milk, and they will continue to provide, returning periodically to land to feed their young. In 8 months, mothers will head to deep sea for weeks at a time to fatten up for the next breeding season, and pups will be weaned. This will signal the start of the pup's own exploratory journey, some wandering as far as 1,600 kilometers from colony to colony along the rich coast. In 3 to 4 years, the female pups will return to become mothers themselves. For the males, it'll be 10 years at least before they can claim territories and mates. For all that have made it to this point, the struggles of being locked to land are done. Life, as fully fledged marine creatures, lies ahead.